Hey, sup everybody, Hook here. So I'm deciding to switch things up by stopping Days Gone. It was being fun, but honestly, I was getting a little bit bored of it. Can you blame me? So yeah, we're just gonna hang around and watch some exploration videos, but like it's in Japan. I found a video that's one with Japan in it, and they're exploring school. Hopefully, you won't see any ghost kids running around. Probably should put as spooky videos, not spooky videos, because the Halloween spooks or Halloween Eve. I cannot wait. Not wait for Halloween. Am I gonna do anything? No, I just love the spirit of Halloween. I just love all the spooky stuff. Anyways. We should switch on over to the just chatting, and I also have my room open for anyone that's would like to join or not. Yeah, not going. Oh right, because I guess I don't have it at the right screen.
So I was driving down the road and came across a rather massive abandoned school here in the mountains. And well, we all know what happened the last time I found one of those.
Yeah, it's by Tokyo Lens Explorer. Apparently he does all this stuff. Dang, I almost quit YouTube. Japan's Nightmare Hospital. That should be fun to watch. Wait, school's closing. I thought it said security or emergency.
So I thought maybe we will go in and check it out. I get the feeling we're probably not going to come across a really cool guy with a set of drums roasting coffee in here, but should be interesting to see what we find.
Yeah, because isn't Japan a little bit more neater? Well, a little bit more. I don't want to say civilized because that's not the word I'm looking for. But yeah, anyways, move on.
There are a lot of school supplies still left over right here in the entrance. Old photos of the school, even spiderwebs all in here, even some audio video equipment. And then in here we have a tatami room with lockers. Wow, this one is really just completely abandoned and not being used at all. It's a little bit creepy actually. I'm slightly concerned we might come across someone. This is like an old TV in there. What is all of that? Those look like droppings to an animal. So we are going to proceed with caution because something is nesting in that room. But let's.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's nothing too terrible. I mean, it looks like a small animal.
Wander around a little and see what we can find here. Wow. There are still a ton of books, and you can tell from the CDs, it must not have been abandoned that long ago.
And did you notice there's hardly any graffiti?
Doors are open, so we'll make our way in here. Look at these old bottles as well. Oh, wow. It's still filled with books. There's an old safe there. All the trophies are up there. This is a giant safe as well. Completely locked. If only I was a safe master and knew how to pick locks. Oh, this feels like it definitely.
Maybe you should have blurred that out. You probably don't even. I would assume you don't read Japan or Japanese text. I don't know.
Definitely wasn't abandoned all that long ago. But again, I feel like we're going to have to proceed with extreme caution as we walk through this one, because we never know what we're going to come across, if perhaps somebody is even living in here right now, or what kind of animals might be in here.
What animals living in here?
Oh, you know, it's times like this that I think maybe I shouldn't be doing all of these adventures completely solo, but the schedule and speed that I move at means that it's really difficult for people to keep up with me. Got a washroom in here, and whoa, this is creepy. This is very obviously the science room, and like, if you look, there's like
Ah! Thank you, frickin' ads. I thought I had the frickin' ad blocker on.
snakes in jars.
Oh, I guess not.
That means that it
Turn off our precious ads.
really
I would have
difficult for
premium
people to
on,
keep up
but
with me.
I want to pay for it.
Got a washroom in here, and jars and fish and oh my. Okay, this might be the creepiest abandoned elementary school we've come
Well, yeah,
across
because it's not been cleaned up.
so far. What in the world? Okay, let's continue to proceed with caution. I just drove out to this area overnight last night, and I can't tell. I'm hearing noises, and I can't tell if it's just the building settling.
You know what? Let's
or if
go
there's
and
somebody
watch
upstairs. But I drove out here about 8 hours
Urbex Hill?
straight, and then did a video this morning.
Which one was it?
And drove out in this direction.
Shush. Oh, because I turned on the ad blocker, right? The day almost quit.
Imagine you were sick in the hospital. You wake up to the whole place shaking violently. Sirens are going off, people are screaming, and you're evacuated to the top floor. That is
Well, probably not that one. I thought it was like this one, but I guess I misread it. On camera. How do you know that this is real? You know what? Let's try it.
If you've been getting scam texts like these, it was me. I said that probably means your data's been leaked. And
Daring Wood, also known as the Screaming Wood, holds the world record for being the most haunted place in the UK. In a solo camper from the famous YouTube channel,
At least some
Camper
sort of
Vibes,
commentary
is
here.
about to experience why. She headed into Daring Wood seeking solitude and a peaceful escape from her busy life. As she arrived, she set up her camp, noting the dense silence that enveloped the woodland. Normally unfazed by camping alone, this time she felt a subtle chill of unease she couldn't quite shake. As darkness fell, Jane began to explore her surroundings. At first, she heard distant, almost inaudible whispers carried by the wind, but dismissed them as tricks of her imagination. After dinner, Jane settled in for the night, but at 2 a.m. is when things start to take a horrific turn, when she starts hearing unexplainable noises, which she is scared to think might be footsteps. And after this encounter sometime later, she is convinced there's more than one person outside her tent, which sends shivers down her spine, as you can see.
What the fuck was that? I don't want to turn the light on because I'm pretty convinced there's been a person or persons. What the fuck?
Could be a wild animal.
I've never wanted the morning to come as much as I do right now.
Because there was definitely something that woke up the sleeping crows as visible. Finally, as dawn approached, Jane emerged from the forest, breathless and trembling. She reached her car, the safety of the modern world a stark contrast to the horrors she had just experienced. Sean, the adventurous soul behind the YouTube channel, often explores the hidden corners of the UK
Oh, I
with
think
his solo camping trips.
I think we've went across this one person. Went across in one of the videos before.
His channel is a treasure of serene landscapes and peaceful nights under the stars. But in February 2024, one of his camping trips took a terrifying turn.
I mean, I am parked on the side of a road. I have parked across from a bit of a clearing. After last week's video where I had a little bit of aggro, I decided this week I'm just going to come out in the middle of nowhere so that I can have a little bit of downtime.
On this particular adventure, Sean decided to leave his van parked by the side of the road, next to a dense woodland area. After a few hours of exploration, he returned to his van and later set out for another evening stroll. After his walk, Sean settled into his van, cozying up for the night. He signed off his video with the typical, all being well, I'll see you in the morning, good night. But as he drifted off to sleep, the real story was just beginning to unfold.
All being well, I'll see you in the morning. Good night.
A car's just pulled up, and it sounds like they're walking around the van.
At around 3 o'clock a.m., Sean was jolted awake by the sound of a car pulling up nearby.
Oh.
He listened carefully as footsteps approached and circled his van. His heart raced as he realized someone or something was outside. So he quietly pulled back the curtains to see what was happening, and the mysterious visitors
With the light on?
hurriedly got back to their car and sped off into the night.
Or maybe that was a good idea. Maybe it was an officer? Who knows what could it be? Checking plates. Hey, Kai Master, welcome in.
It doesn't stop here, because the following morning, Sean decided to inspect the outside of his van. But as he tried to open the door, he discovered it was stuck. Confused and slightly alarmed, he forced it open and was met with an unsettling sight. His van had been zip-tied shut. Watch what happens.
Wait, what?
My door's stuck.
What did they do to his door? They chained it?
What the actual...
See that?
Someone had taken the time to secure the doors with heavy-duty zip ties.
If you haven't watched him yet, Chilling Scares does this kind of video. Good vibes are great. Zip ties. Oh, yeah. No, literally, zip ties here. Chilling Scares. Wait, I think I know them. Oh, yeah, I do know them. Horror stories, chilling scare videos, caught on camera videos. Hey, what's the difference between this one and this one? Like, they have... Whatever. I will finish this video, and then we'll go on to the next one.
Effectively trapping him inside. As he examined the van, he found that the back door was also tampered with. His mind raced with possible motives. Were they trying to steal Diesel? Or perhaps they were locals unhappy with his presence? Or just people messing around? Despite his harrowing experience,
let's hope for the latter.
Sean's adventurous spirit remained unbroken.
Oh, if you have a recommended video, could you link the title name, not the link itself, just the title name?
YouTube adventurer Matt Field, the face
actually
behind
no,
popular
link
channel
the video.
Field Days, with 1.6
you have my permission
million
to do that.
followers, recently took on a challenge that pushed his courage and his audience's nerves to the limit as he ventured into a location steeped in a remote cave reputed to be haunted. The adventure begins with Matt setting out for a 24-hour solo camping challenge. This particular cave, whispered about in local lore and among Matt's
Mature Stories playlist. Not sure what the difference is between his other two videos. Okay.
friends, is said to have an unsettling presence. Almost immediately upon entering, Matt reports a sensation of being watched, hearing very strange sounds.
Alright, so a fair bit of time has passed. We're still sitting here. Two extremely weird noises I've heard now. One, I swear to God it was the ladder that I come into the cave on. It was swinging. Now, I think I'm just tripping balls, but I swear to God it was the ladder swinging. And second thing is just that weird sound I heard again. It's just a very strange noise, but can't really put my finger on what it is. I don't think it's bats. I don't know. Don't know what it is. But anyway, it is about 11 o'clock at night right now, and we are going to dig into the baked beans.
As Matt settles in for the night, feasting on a can of baked beans, the creepiness intensifies when suddenly he hears an inexplicable sound that sends chills down his spine.
In a haunted cave? Oh my fucking God. That was...
All right, let me check this out real quick. Ah, thank you.
The sound. That is the sound. Did you hear that? Look at my arms. I got full goosebumps.
Can't really
As the
see
night
them.
progresses, watch how things get very obviously worse with the doubt, as he hears even more disturbing noises which can't be explained by the wind.
I really hope you guys heard that chain move just then. It is...
Wait a minute. I think I know this one too. Wait, here's hoping that I didn't see this one.
100% now. I heard it before. I'm 100% certain it's the chain that I walked in, that you climbed down into this cave on. It's moving. Now, you can't move that chain with wind. It's way too heavy. There is no wind coming in here. There's no wind even fork. Holy shit.
Oh, listen, it takes a lot to scare me, just so you know. As long as, you know, nothing illegal or bad for Twitch I pee and stuff. Like, I don't have any phobias that I'm aware of. So if you find anything scary that's scary for you, send it my way.
Oh my fucking god. You must have heard that just then. Look at my arms, dude. Oh, this is fucked.
Are you sure it's not an animal?
Holy shit. That's not normal, dude. Well, I'm freaking out.
It's not normal. It could be your can of beans.
Despite the mounting fear and chilling encounters, Matt decides to stay the night after briefly contemplating an early exit. He endures the unnerving sounds and sights until dawn, and as you can see, he is visibly shaken.
I just heard a sound.
Oh, wow.
It's not normal. It's definitely not a
Funny.
normal sound, and I'm scared shitless. I'm not
No
gonna
wonder
lie.
it was seemed familiar.
That sound. It was not normal. It's probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours after I checked in with you guys, so it would be around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. Hey, good bloody morning to ya. It is the morning. We have spent the whole entire night in this cave. Some of the most craziest, most busted ass sounds I've heard in my life were happening last night. Like, I'm talking sounds that give me chills, dude. Like, I'm proper chills. I'm here. I'm still alive. I haven't been murdered. I haven't been taken by a ghost or a spirit. So that's a bloody good thing. The sun has just come up. I've actually been sleeping here on this rock.
So, could this cave truly be haunted? Matt's experience seems to suggest there might be truth to the legends. Rody is a YouTube channel where the uploader shares his experiences of living out of his truck and traveling around the country. Typically, his videos focus on the beauty of nature and the joys of independent living. However, a video uploaded in December of 2017 diverged from the theme, showcasing a far more unsettling experience.
Well, I mean, independent living, yeah, I guess it feels freedom to enjoy, but like you're limited to what you can do. Like, of course you don't have your own washer, dryer. Pretty sure you have to go like places for that. You can barely cook, stuff that you want. Well, that's for camping wise, but still. Yeah, it takes a lot of effort to live out of an apartment or something. Can't have a mail address. Yep. Which also brings up the whole employment thing of, yeah, if you don't have a mailing address, you can't get a job.
In this particular video, Rody recounts an incident that occurred.
Wait a minute. Is this the one where there's a bunch of guys trying to look inside of the car, even though it's blacked out? And it's in the middle of the night.
While he was car camping in a parking lot. At around 1:30 a.m., a hooded man began walking around his truck, taking pictures of the license plates. The back of the truck where Rody was sleeping was pitch black, making it likely that the man did not realize anyone was inside. Unaware that he was being recorded, take a look at how the suspicious individual continued to circle the truck for several minutes.
So it was probably around like 1:30 in the morning when I heard someone walking around my truck. And whenever you're sleeping, somewhere public and you hear somebody walking around outside your truck, it's always a little bit alarming. So what you'll see here in a second, he pulls out his phone and starts taking pictures. It looks like of my license plate or something like that. I'm not sure why he was doing this. So I thought
maybe not this one.
I wasn't allowed to park there, and he was taking pictures of my license plate. But it's kind of odd to be doing that at 1:30 in the morning. And he didn't look like a security guard or anything like that.
The fear builds as the man makes his way to the side of the truck and tries to shine a flashlight inside. At this point, Rody decides to take action. He bangs his fist on the inside of the truck to alert the man to his presence. Startled, the man immediately runs away.
He comes back around and tries to shine his flashlight into the back of my camper shell. You'll see here in a second. And I just bang on the window, and he takes off running. So he probably wasn't expecting that.
The exact intentions of the hooded individual remain unclear, but his extremely weird behavior suggested he might have been planning something illegal, possibly a carjacking. Thankfully, Brody was able to scare him off and spend the night safely.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I definitely know my parents would let me do stuff like that. But honestly, like, I'm not made for the whole road, the whole road or living out your van type deal. I still need to do, this type of content.
Phil, the host of the YouTube channel Hike Slam, is known for his adventurous hikes across Virginia. On the day before Thanksgiving in 2021, Phil embarked on an overnight hike and camping trip along a section of the Appalachian Trail near his home.
Ooh.
What started as a routine adventure quickly turned horrifying.
Appalachian
About
Trail.
half an hour into his hike, take a look upon the pile of garbage he found.
So some Bud Light cans, plastic bat.
Come on, guys.
Some writing on some of this garbage.
Spencer Renovated. Yeah.
This one.
But I mean, it would probably be worth it. Worth it to renovate, because you're living on your own. You're not paying any sort of bills on a home. All you're doing is using your van. And all you have to do is deal with the car insurance and taxes. And also to, get your car up to date also, or van.
Hangman is coming down.
This
from
one's
the
great.
gallows. Song lyrics.
Why is there song
Other
lyrics
weird
here?
things. Oh, hopefully I don't get murdered out here. That would totally ruin my day. Well, let's keep going.
Oddly, it was covered in cryptic writing. While strange, it wasn't enough to deter him from continuing, and he joked about hoping not to get murdered. However, as he progressed further along the trail, he encountered more of these rambling notes, and this time they were accompanied by a dead duck, adding a disturbing twist to the situation.
A dead duck?
What was even more odd was how neatly the notes were placed between rocks.
The weirdness continues. What the hell? And there's a dead duck here.
What does that say? It's a reference to a country after something loosened years ago. Free dinner. Depends on how long it's been out. Follow the path to the sandy campsite area. I've actually been there several days.
A very long note.
It looks pretty
and
fresh
it looks like
too.
It was just put here because it's not wet.
I was just about to say.
That duck is fairly recently killed. All right. Kind of creepy.
I would leave
Concerned
immediately.
by the bizarre discoveries, Phil decided to change his plans. Instead of camping at his original spot, he opted to hike 2 miles in the opposite direction to a shelter. Despite his efforts to find a safe place, the unsettling presence seemed to follow him. Watch what happens later at night.
I'm gonna check out the shelter log here. I hang out by the fire. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log where people write in their trail names and what's going on. They can write whatever they want in there. So it's kind of cool tradition here.
Oh, I'm surprised no one took that.
So let's see what this one says. Little engine, back section. hiking again finally. Great day on the AT. This was in August. Huh. Someone left some PBRs here, I guess. It's nice and little trail magic. Some comics and writing and stuff.
That's cute.
Alright, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap.
Wait, is this the same handwriting?
Wait a second. Hold on, I'm adjust the camera here. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
Cleaned outhouse, picked up trash, collected wood, fan, or for others. See, Charles Daniels, Simple Man lyrics, which I used in a 2013 Facebook post, and a note the rope. I found it with the silicon seal. 2 miles south that I left on a stump in 2018 while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa Country Jail in solitary confinement. I figured the following out. Refer to Baja 28-15-19. Here to earn what is this saying? Something about, let's see, Black Bay whited deer Aaron was swept away and was left in Georgia flood. Scratchable letters to the... Is anyone making sense of any of this? Let's see. Take the aid out of the Gatorade made in Chicago and you've got a Gator and a Renegade. By the way, I found the Gatorade bottle nearby. Someone put a green duck tape up here in the shelter. Back to the mine, another boy that went missing in the Duck River around. Can't read the others.
Let's see if this makes any sense.
Oh, he's gonna read it.
Sorry if the lighting's bad. I'm just gonna see what it says. Cleaned the outhouse. Picked up trash. Collected wood for others. See Charlie Daniels' Simple Man lyrics, which I used in 2013 Facebook post. And note the rope I found with the silicone sealant can 2 miles south of that. I left it on a stump. In 2018, while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa County Jail. What the heck? In solitary confinement, I figured the following out. Refer to Isaiah 28:15 through 9. Here in early 2017, Trump, Nebo, allowed Obama to have the special use of the Air Force One for a trip to Palm Springs. This is the same ramblings from the guy that was on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary.
Understandably disturbed, Phil struggled to fall asleep that night. He was still half awake when he heard footsteps approaching the shelter.
Oh.
His heart raced as the sound grew closer, knowing that someone or something was nearby. So rationally, he made the smart decision to go back to his truck and leave. Will's whereabouts is
I'm gonna be honest here. If I was camping, especially alone, I would have brought a gun. Like, it's not just... It's just to show that, like, yeah, I'm armed. Don't fuck with me. This is the mountains. It'll be better chance of having an animal eat you than someone finding your body.
beloved traveling and camping YouTube channel based in the UK, where the host, Will, takes viewers along on his journeys through the countryside, sharing valuable tips.
Now I don't condone I don't want to push, murder, but just protect yourself, defend yourself. I don't condone murder. Yeah, that's right. It's just more of just defend yourself.
And tricks for camping and exploring the great outdoors. However, in one particularly scary episode, Will encounters something that leaves him and his audience with chills. In this episode, Will sets up camp in Box Hill, an ancient and densely wooded area southwest of London. As night falls, Will settles into a sleeping bag, ready to get some rest after a long day of exploration. However, his plans for a quiet night are abruptly interrupted. In the dead of night, he is awakened by a disturbing noise.
I don't think I'm going to be getting much sleep tonight.
Some of Will's viewers speculate that the sounds could be coming from wildlife,
London.
perhaps a fox
No
or
guns,
another
knife stabbing
nocturnal
more
animal.
likely.
However, Will isn't so sure. As the wails persist, Will's viewers are left to wonder what could possibly be happening deep in the woods at this hour. Is it a prank, a distress call, or something far more sinister?
Let's just hope whatever those noises are isn't an actual murder. Drunk teens bet. I also bet that as well.
Daring Wood, also known as
Now, was this the one with the disturbing abandoned? Or is it this one? Chilling creepy tales, chilling scares. Okay.
Urbex Hill is one of the most popular urban exploration channels on YouTube, featuring raw footage
I know
from
this
YouTuber
dude.
Chris Hill's visits to a lot of the more extreme abandoned buildings in the US. From abandoned mental hospitals to decommissioned military facilities, Chris explores all of it, but specifically places that a lot of even the more extreme explorers wouldn't visit, at least not at night and alone like Chris always does. In January 2023, he uploaded footage of his visit to the now abandoned Paul Revere Elementary School in Cleveland. After almost a century of use, the school was permanently closed in 2015 due to declining enrollment numbers. Although there are allegedly plans to turn the abandoned building into a housing complex, as of 2024, Paul Revere Elementary is still abandoned.
What, Urbex or Chilling Scares? I will assume Urbex.
And in terrible shape. From the moment Chris walks inside, it's pretty clear that the place hasn't been used in years and has been severely damaged by the elements, vandals, and the passage of time. The bottom floors are all flooded, the walls are peeling,
I
the
think I've
structure
seen this
doesn't
one.
seem too sound, and there's rust, random papers, books, and all kinds of debris lying everywhere.
Wait, didn't he get scared by Mannequin Head?
Throughout the video, you can see messages written in seemingly fresh chalk on some of the whiteboards, confirming that people have been in the building recently. This
Jeff
was actually
sucks.
Chris's second visit to Paul Revere Elementary. When he uploaded footage of his March 2022 visit to the school, several people in the comments mentioned they had either been students or teachers at the school and talked about how incredibly sad it was to see their beloved childhood school ruined by abandonment and lack of maintenance. A little after 10 minutes into the exploration, you can hear some sort of ruffling sound and other strange noises coming from somewhere in the schoolhouse.
One of these? Ah! Get out of here with the League of Legends BS. I don't know where that came from.
Walls are peeling, the structure abandonment and lack of maintenance. Noises coming from somewhere in the schoolhouse.
What is that?
Wait. Are there people coming around the corner?
Do you hear that?
Other explorers? And he like hides in another room.
As Chris turns a corner in
Yep.
the hallway, another
Oh, wait a
person's
minute. This is also the one with the mannequin as well. Not the mannequin head.
flashlight can be seen shining down the hall. It looks to be just one person who was likely either another urban explorer or a squatter.
Yep,
Still,
I definitely
at
seen
1
this
a.m.
one.
in an abandoned building, it's obviously best to avoid drawing unwanted attention to yourself, especially when you don't know the other person's intentions, which is why Chris ultimately decided to run instead of making his presence known. Making sure to walk in the other direction to
I think
avoid
I've
running
actually
into
seen this.
anyone, he then heads to the library and explores the rest of the top floors. As he goes into the bathroom on the top floor,
Yeah, I've seen this one. Shoo. I don't want to repeat watches. Too spooky for you. Gone wrong. Ooh, I wonder what happened here. Let's go by popular. Eight most disturbing things caught on dash cam footage. Forest encounters. Trucker dash cam. Hmm. You know what? Let's try that trucker dash cam.
In February of 2015, this pair of truck drivers was driving down the highway when a white truck quickly sped up to them. It got in front of them and slowed down, forcing them to stop their truck altogether. They thought the man inside was trying to tell them something, like their brake lights weren't working or something, so they pulled to the side of the road. But once they stopped, no one got out of the white truck.
That's a little extreme. That's very extreme to like get them to completely stop just for a red light. I don't think anyone would take the time to actually do that.
It circled the two truckers and stopped right next to them, even blocking oncoming traffic at times. The person inside could now clearly be seen, but he just sits there, staring at them. They worried the man had a gun, and so they decide to drive away. But this causes the white pickup to pull right in front of them.
You probably want what was in that truck. It's so weird they just didn't do anything. Oh, ad. Alright, BRB. I'm back. Alright, let's get to work. Or get to watching this.
Does he think you cut him off or something?
What is happening? Like, he's trying to cut him off, but he's not doing anything.
What's his tag? I can't see his tag.
The truck drivers are forced to back up to get around. They try to record the license plate, but it's not entirely visible. After a few seconds of just sitting there, the white pickup backs up to be in line with the truck.
It looks like a Miami license plate. Miami? Florida license plate.
The truck drivers take this opportunity to try and drive away.
Did you see his face? Yeah. I have.
As they drive off, the white pickup rams into their back trailer in what can only be assumed an attempt to get them to stop. But they keep going and eventually lose the white pickup.
My dude, you're trying to hit a semi-truck's trailer to get them to stop. You're literally slamming your own head on the brick wall. Come on.
A bit further down the road, they park and wait for police to arrive. When they did, they started a search, and after a while found the white pickup on the side of the road a bit further down. They detained the man inside, and after seeing the video, arrested him. Police later determined the man was not in his right mind, and the outcome could have easily been worse than it was.
I guess he wasn't in his right
This dashcam
mind.
footage was taken at 5 in the morning on July 29th, 2016. The truck is in Calais, a city in France that overlooks the narrowest point in the English Channel. It's headed for a port which will take it over the channel to the UK. As it continues on the road, the truck in front of it suddenly brakes, causing the truck with the dashcam to lay on the horn. Shortly after, multiple men with flashlights appear on the road, throwing rocks at the truck, trying to get it to stop. They even use tree branches as makeshift roadblocks.
What the? What? Okay, what was that dude doing? It looked like he was about to swerve into them. Did he not see him?
The truck smashed through the tree branches, not stopping, knowing that if they do, they could be injured or worse. The men in the video on the side of the road are a gang of migrants trying to be smuggled into the UK by any means possible. They'll set up makeshift roadblocks, throw rocks at the windows of trucks, stand in the road, all in an attempt to get trucks to stop. If they're successful, they'll use different weapons to threaten truck drivers into smuggling them over the border. Reports of these occurrences, both successful and unsuccessful, come in somewhat frequently. Many other dash cams on trucks driving through the same area have captured similar occurrences. This one shows a hijacking attempt with more people involved.
You know, I'll be honest here, if there were that many people, yeah, I would have just backed up and have them, you know, if they decide to do something, it's their fault.
Typically, these attempts occur between 12 and 6 a.m. Police in Calais have been working to fully eradicate the issue for years.
Well, it looks like it's not working.
In 2021, Hurricane Ida, an extremely destructive Category 4 hurricane, hit the state of Louisiana. It was the second most powerful hurricane recorded to have done so. It quickly devastated the southernmost port of Louisiana as it moved upwards further into the U.S. The hurricane created multiple tornadoes as it did so. This semi-truck would find itself in the middle of one of them, all of which was caught on its dash cam. It happened in Horsham, Pennsylvania. The truck stops at a light, but upon turning green, the driver decides to stay put. The winds quickly begin picking up. Visibility continues to worsen as the power lines on the side of the road finally give way.
Oh.
The truck continues to be forcefully pushed around.
The tornado watch remains in effect until 10 p.m. for southeastern Pennsylvania. Repeating, the tornado warning has been allowed to expire for the following counties in Pennsylvania, Delaware, Montgomery, and Philadelphia. At 3:15 p.m. Wednesday, the stage was 6.4 feet. Moderate flooding is forecast. The river is expected to rise above
Bomb
the
arts?
stage late this evening to
I haven't heard of that one.
14.8 feet tomorrow
I don't
morning.
think.
Several driveways and other minor roadways are affected. Water begins to enter some basements. Impact at 10.0 feet. High water isolates several houses, resulting in some evacuation.
Oh. Oh.
The winds are strong enough to push the truck over.
Yeah, because the truck doesn't have any wind resistance. That makes sense. Yeah, it's just all block.
The dash cam falls out of place, revealing the driver still being held in his seat from his seatbelt. Almost immediately after falling over, a man driving a van in front of the truck turned around and went over to help. The truck driver was assisted out of his truck, where the two men then ran for cover in a nearby building. The truck driver made it out with only minor injuries. This dashcam footage was taken in Russia. A driver stopped his truck on the side of the road to change out one of his wheels. As he does so, he notices the same vehicle pass by multiple different times. Worried whoever was inside had bad intentions, the driver walks up the road and finds a steel pipe to defend himself. Shortly after, the car drives by again, but this time stops. 3 bandits were inside. One of them, seen in a tracksuit, walks up to the truck and attempts to extort money from the driver for, quote, crossing their territory.
Are you fucking
The
kidding
driver
me?
stays inside his truck and calls for backup from other nearby truckers.
Extorting them from crossing into a traffic, really?
No, ладно.
5 minutes later, multiple trucks respond to his call for help. Now with backup, the driver gets out of his truck and confronts the bandits with his steel pipe. Meanwhile, trucks continue to pile in, blocking the bandits from retreating. Now with almost 20 truckers, they flip the bandits' car over.
Yes! Get him!
The car is left to sit upside down on the side of the road as all the truckers begin to leave, having saved one trucker from a potentially life-threatening situation. This dashcam footage was also taken in Russia. It was recorded on October.
He animated those Reddit-style 3 scary stories. I have not seen them. I'll probably take a look at it after this
29th, 2013. The truck was carrying a shipment through the night. The road is pitch black, only lit up by the truck's headlights. All of a sudden, a tree falls directly in front of it, only seen when it appears in front of the headlights.
Oh. That has to
the tree falls
be
only feet away from the truck. There's not enough distance to avoid it, forcing the driver into it. He swerves, but avoids overcorrecting more than he should, and therefore doesn't spin out and lose control.
That has to be on purpose.
This allows the driver to make it out with nothing more than slight damage to the front of the truck. This semi-truck was sitting idly on the side of the road when the dashcam captures a silver car pull up in front of it. The car is put in park and a man gets out. He starts walking up to the truck and, seeing no one inside, walks around to the driver's side door. It was left unlocked. The truck driver was outside, possibly changing a tire or inspecting his back trailer. It's not made entirely clear. The man then rummages through the truck driver's things before making a run for it back to his car, having taken a black bag. That's when the truck driver realizes what's going on and chases after him.
Man, I hate these people.
For whatever reason, after getting in the passenger side door and beginning to drive off, the car stops and the man throws the bag on the ground. The car then continues to speed off as the trucker reclaims his bag.
I think he looked inside the bag, saw there was nothing in there, and then left.
The license plate was never fully visible in the video, so police couldn't really do anything.
Ah, damn it. Alright. Llama Arts, was it? Llama Arts. Not Llama Arena. Only a year ago, huh? Okay. Ah, great.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone.
A cool breeze crept through the valley outside of Telluride, Colorado, as my friends and I unloaded the truck parked on the dirt driveway. We had recently started renting an old mining house built in the early 1900s. Most of the home had been renovated over the years, but there were still glimpses of what the house used to be. The exterior of the home was painted a bright yellow and adorned a blood-red door. The yard was abundant, with lush green grass, minus the few brown patches that littered the ground. In the corner of the yard sat a dilapidated gazebo, filled to the brim with landscaping equipment. I stood facing the house, admiring the quaint ambiance it seemed to exude. I felt something hit my back and spun around. My brother, William, was standing behind me with a box under his right arm. "Let's pick up the pace, we don't have all day," he said, with a little annoyance masked in his voice. Yeah, I responded, and started walking to the back of the truck. My other two friends, Elijah and Leon, were in the process of stacking some boxes on a dolly. "Hey man, take this to my room."
Wait, I think I heard of this story. This is gonna come up every time I'm listening to these like spooky stories. Like I've seen so many of them. Like, oh wait, I've heard of this one. Oh, I heard this one. Oh yeah, it's about this. I don't know if maybe it's a different one.
Elijah said as he handed me a large box. I resituated it in my arms and gripped it. As I did so, I could hear glass clanging inside and a strong, familiar odor starting to leak out. "Hey man, be careful," Elijah snapped. "If you ever want to smoke again, I'd highly advise you to take it one step at a time there, champ." "Maybe if you didn't throw everything into one single box without bubble wrap, then you wouldn't have an issue of something breaking, Elijah," Leon responded. Elijah's eyes widened, as if he had just figured out the secrets of the universe. I laughed, turned around, and proceeded into the house. The floorboards creaked as I stepped onto the warped living room floor. I surveyed my surroundings of the old rustic home as I headed to Elijah's bedroom. Only 2 interior rooms had been renovated in the entire house, one being the kitchen, which had marble countertops and new appliances, the other being my room. I was the one who found the home on the market, so respectively I had first choice of which room I wanted to claim as my own.
These are a pre-existing videos, so there's high chance you've heard of. Okay.
The other rooms, on the other hand, were still the same as they had been since the early 1900s, with dreary wooden floorboards and old chipping paint.
Dude, what the hell?
William yelled from upstairs. I quickly climbed the narrow stairway to find my brother in his room. I walked in to find what looked like to be a large lump underneath the wooden floorboards.
Oh.
It almost looked like Andre the Giant was buried in the middle of the room. I told you it was an old home, Will. Things shift over time, I said, trying to hold my snickering back. Yeah, I get that, but you didn't say that I'd have to maneuver around a speed bump, he snapped back. I took a deep sigh and turned to him. Okay, look man, we're only gonna be here for a year. You've got plenty of room to put your bed so you're not sleeping on an incline.
Ah, yes. We're gonna be here only for a year. That's a lot.
William turned back to the floor dejected. That's easy for you to say. You're not staying on the cover of Sticky Fingers by the Rolling Stones. After we had moved everything into the house, we all plopped down on the couch, beers in hand, and began our well-deserved R&R. Elijah had already begun smoking, and the room started to fill with the pungent odor. So are we gonna be doing some ghost hunting tonight, boys? Elijah said, as he passed the joint to Leon. Oh, come on, you don't actually believe that crap, do you?
Ah, yes. Smoking and doing drugs and ghost hunting. Yep.
Leon responded as he was rolling his eyes. The guy blew his brains out on the front porch in the 1930s. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a ghost floating through the halls. I mean, how do you think we got such a killer deal on rent? William said as he lifted his arms and started mimicking the sounds of a specter. Shut up. It's all nonsense. You've just been watching too much Ghost Hunters, I responded. But anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. We need to get up early to do some cleaning. Good night, guys. I stood up and meandered to my room. In all reality, I was a little perturbed by what happened at this house. I've always been quite agnostic to my beliefs of ghosts or spirits, but I've never witnessed anything myself.
Same.
The rent was super cheap for an entire house, and I wanted to save some money for a trip outside of the country. I pushed the fact that someone had ended their life to the back of my mind. I wish things would have turned out much differently. I entered my room and slid under my sheets and basked in the warmth of my bed. It had been a long day and my body ached from moving. I grabbed my phone and looked for a rain and thunder YouTube video to help me sleep.
But you do know that unless you have YouTube Premium, then those ads are gonna pop up in the middle.
And after about 15 minutes, I crept into comfortable darkness. My eyes shot open in the middle of the night. The moonlight shone through my window and enveloped my room in comforting light. I could hear creaking from the house as the wind howled outside. I tried to sit up, but found my efforts futile. Sleep paralysis was a regular occurrence in my life. It happened at least once a month due to stress and a little help from my antidepressants.
Well, I mean, just remember, move your fingies, not your entire arm. That's why I listen and watch Twitch subscriptions or Spotify to sleep. I mean, unless you have unless you're subscribed to Spotify.
At this point, I'd almost gotten used to it. I could hear what sounded like a light scratching noise coming from inside my room, and prepared myself for the usual dark figure to be standing in the corner. My eyes darted from left to right, trying to decipher where the noise was coming from. It was then I started to hear skittering, like someone or something was moving around. A cold feeling crept over my body as I started sweating profusely, my sheets becoming soaked. The skittering stopped, but was replaced by cracking, one that resembled that of broken bone. Out of my peripheral vision, I could see long, needle-like limbs protruding from my closet.
Part in the floorboard.
They each moved slowly, tapping the wall as if they were looking for something. I then saw a large, bulbous black mass starting to show itself from the closet door. It was coated.
Why does this room have 2 doors? I was gonna say the closet? Bathroom?
In tiny hairs and twitched almost habitually. A loud moan echoed throughout my room as the creature finally presented itself. A spider-like entity was situated on my wall. The reason I say spider-like was because its head had been replaced with that of a human one. Its eyes were blacked out from the shadows of moonlight, and its lower jaw was removed, revealing a blotchy tongue that oozed saliva. It was about the size of a twin bed and stared at me for what seemed like hours. My heart was racing. I was begging my body to move, but to no avail. I was stuck there, in suspended torment. I tried screaming, but I was unable to make a sound. All I could do was watch the creature on my wall as it grew closer.
This is why you need a pistol pillow? Or a pillow pistol? Well, if he can move. Isn't this a yokai, or am I misremembering? Yokai. What is a yokai? Yokai. Yokai is a Japanese word for ghost, demon, monster, shapeshifter, treacherous. They interact with the human world and spark notions. Yokai, good or bad? Well, okay, there's definitely a bunch of... Yeah, they can either be good or bad, mischief, whatever. There are many different demons or yokais, so maybe. Yeah, probably in Japanese myth, there are definitely a lot of demons.
Suddenly, it skittered to the ceiling right above me and started scratching with its 2 front legs, almost like it was burrowing. It then started to sink into the wall, as if the wall had turned into quicksand. First, the abdomen, then the legs. Eventually, all that was left was its mangled head staring straight at me. Those cold, dead eyes boring into my soul. I could hear it moaning, and I could feel the drips of saliva hit my torso. The creature then let out an inhuman roar and vanished into my ceiling. My body was finally released, and I jolted out of my bed screaming. As I did, the house...
So, with the floorboards, right? Is that the spider thing? One of the bearing ones, like the actual spider. Weird flex,
erupted
bro.
into more terrified outcries coming from upstairs. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who saw something.
Okay, I guess I didn't hear about this.
Unfortunately, it wouldn't be the last time either.
No wonder the rent was cheap. Alright, let's watch one more of these.
We live on several acres in rural Indiana, USA. Our neighbors aren't too far apart, but we all live on a lot of property. On our properties, we have a lot of trees, and our neighbor doesn't maintain their property well, so a lot of it's overgrown. You know, a couple of fallen trees and a lot of downed branches.
It's got bugs. Yep, it does have bugs. By the way, speaking of sleep paralysis, right? So, as young as I can remember, when I first had sleep paralysis, like, I just seen, like, this figure with, like, you know, an actual face, you know, black, like, you know, black and figured, like, you can see the eyes, just smiling at me. And you know what my reaction was? Hate, rage, anger. Like, I wanted to freaking destroy that thing. Like, on the side of my bed looking at me. Like, I was, like, yelling and, like, just, like, trying to get out, like wanting to get out. And as soon as like I actually fully woken up, like I was up and like ready to fight and like, wait. Oh. And then went back to bed. Why do you think our minds freeze at the sight of horror? Got a point there. You know what? Like, man, do you mind? Get out of my room? Exactly. Hook was always red to throw. Ready to throw hands. Listen, it didn't happen once, twice, but 3 times in a row. I'm pretty sure that if any paralysis demons want to like come after me, then they'll need these hands. Did any of these figures have hats per chance? Not particularly. I don't remember. I just know that they had a smile, like a grin, like not a shit-eating grin, like a very twisted, large, like inhuman smile. That's just looking at me, making fun of me, and just wanna fucking tear them apart. But that's just how I act when paralysis demons come around towards me. At least I figured out how to get out of it. Because, you know, wiggling your fingers. It actually happened before, and I'm like, okay, I can't move. Wait. Fingers? Yes, fingers! Not Hat Man. Nope. Definitely not Hat Man. No, I don't take the Benazil or the type of drugs that let you see Hat Man. And frankly enough, I was tempted, but it's either, you know, once in a lifetime experience seeing it, or, you know, having a good fulfillment of being healthy. So I chose the latter and being healthy and not screwing myself over. Fingers are all Hook needs to use the trigger. Damn it, Fables. That's a good one. I like that. Sorry. Alright, pistol pillow. Well, that requires, you know, a wrist, arm, probably the entire arm to like get it moving and whip it out.
We knew the state of their property was probably because it was an older couple that owned the house and the property was vast. We have a creek separating our homes as well, but a small strip of their property is accessible from our backyard. Due to the overgrowth in trees, we weren't able to see much of their property when we first moved in the summer, and of course we didn't go onto their land because we didn't want to trespass. One night, my daughter and her friend were camping in the backyard and ran inside, swearing that they heard a kid laughing or crying in our backyard. I figured it was their imagination from too many scary stories while in the tent, but went out to investigate briefly just in case. I heard a faint noise coming from just beyond our property line. I moved the flashlight into the general direction and called out to whoever may be in the trees. The sound stopped. I decided it was probably just a couple of stray cats, but just in case, I had the girls set up the tent in the living room. The next day, after taking my daughter's friend home, curiosity got the best of me, and
You bring everyone inside, don't go outside.
decided to investigate the area by our property line. As I neared the line of trees, I saw a small path I had never noticed before. Since I knew my neighbors were too far and the trees were too thick, they couldn't see me on their property, so I stepped onto the small path. I walked slowly, looking down, watching for poison ivy and fallen branches. I wasn't too far in when I saw a dirty, broken kid's toy on the ground, wrapped in overgrown weeds. I looked up, and in the distance I saw a small, white shed-like structure.
Is this like the story of what was it? The house that was made of candy? and a witch brought the kids inside. Hansel and Gretel, was it?
As I got closer, there were more and more toys scattered on the ground, some partially buried,
Wait, is that
all
barbed wire?
broken and dirty. Then there was barbed wire, and I could see the front of the
Yes, thank you, Kai.
shed and realized it was a large playhouse with a wooden alphabet decorating the outside.
Oh yeah, no. I know what you meant.
I was starting to feel uneasy. This playhouse was at least half a mile or more from the only house on the property. I stopped in my tracks, letting my imagination go a little, when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I must have jumped a foot off the ground, only to turn around and see that my daughter had followed me. Once my heart slowed down, I decided to get a closer look.
What's with that look? It's like giving her like the eyebrows of like, huh? Did you like my prank?
There was more broken barbed wire fencing on the ground the closer we got. The window on the side was broken, and there was a hole in the roof. There was a broken train set. One a kid would be able to
Thank
ride
you
on.
for the raid notification.
Yo,
Master.
Zen!
Delta_Zen has brought 6 viewers to our channel.
Hello, Raiders. Welcome in. I am Hook, your VTuber, your horror VTuber who lives in a world Anthropy. What's up? How's it going? Kronos shall fall one day. Oh, wait, Who's Kronos? I'm a little bit out of touch here. But what you do, what you play? I'm gonna give you a shout out and see what we can see in your embarrassing clips.
And so you see the lawnmower returns to the wild.
Did that woman's... Oh no! Zen! Played Hades 2 and died a lot. Well, I mean, that's Hades 2. Kind of. Well, I mean, it's a... Isn't it like a roguelike? I don't know. I never played... Oh, it's a lawnmower! I thought it was a baby carriage. Thank you for the care package. We were just watching some scary stories. So yeah, thank you for the raid. Now we're gonna... Oh, and if you need to do your aftercare, go right ahead. Otherwise, sit back and enjoy what I'm doing. Also, rumor has it that Lawnmower is still out there in the wild, waiting to attack overgrown lawn. And also I've heard a rumor that the lawnmower, right, can fly. You don't know it yet. It's always in the air. It sounds just like a plane, but once it goes right over your head, that's it. That's all. Anyways, let's continue. I get involved. What if the Roomba is just a millennial? I hate it. Mods. Wet his socks and make him wear them.
The front door had a white piece of wood set to lock someone in, not keep people out. At this point, my daughter was in full panic mode and begging for us to walk back to our house. But I had to at least look through the window, or my mind would wander with all the possibilities of what could be in there.
Hey, no, stop. Why? Shall banish then should able to wear socks with sandals. Alright. You have a good night there, Zen.
Was stepping to the side of the shed. My daughter was following close behind. In her
figured.
fear, she was paying more attention to me than where she was stepping, and she cut her leg pretty deep on some barbed wire that was hidden in overgrowth. I quickly glanced inside the window, only to see a partially dirt floor and broken wood, and a large wooden bench with a dark stain on top.
Is the dark stain a shadow?
I picked up my daughter, who was determined her leg was going to fall off. We left the neighbor's property, and I took her to the doctor to get a tetanus shot and get her cleaned up. That night after dinner, I let the dog out, but couldn't get her to come back in. I let her stay outside for a while and checked again a little later. Our dog still wouldn't come in, and I noticed she was standing by the path we took earlier.
Aw, is the dog protecting the little path area? Like, does he know something that they don't?
I grabbed a flashlight and her leash and headed out to her. She was pacing, whining, and sniffing around everywhere. I figured it was from the blood earlier, but she never ventured onto the path. Then, I heard the giggling of a little girl. I called out to the child, but there was no answer in return, just some rustling in the leaves.
Did they mention anything about just moving here? Because it seems like they just this just happening.
I ran inside with the dog to check on my daughter to make sure that she was still in the house. She was laying in bed fast asleep. The next morning I went straight to the playhouse, but as I was approaching, something was wrong. The broken toys seemed to be in different places, and when I got to the playhouse, my heart felt like it was a ton of bricks. All over the side of the playhouse were children's drawings in my daughter's blood.
Well, there seems to be a ghost going around there. But if they didn't mention moving, and it's just now happening, either one, they got really lucky, or two, her daughter and their friend dug something up, like disturbed the spirit, and now it's all over the place. I mean, who knows?
It was a summer ago. My family and I had gone to a cabin that most would use for a winter vacation, but my family wasn't like that. The cabin was located in the middle of the forest. There was no cell phone service, so, as you can imagine, I was pissed. My mom always complained to me about being isolated and confined to the comforts of my phone. I always found solace in my phone, since being around people made me feel irrational and just plain weird.
Yep, same. I think everyone here is like that. So it's not like, even now, like I don't feel very comfortable with other people. This is why I take night shift.
My parents never understood that. Anyway, my little sister is 6 years old and was playing around in the forest. She had gone a bit too far out of my sight, and I started to get a little worried. I called out her name but got no response. I then went in the direction that she did and found nothing but a bloodied bow. My eyes widened as I frantically ran around looking for her. I found a blood trail that led into the deeper parts of the forest. I hesitated, but nothing was going to stop me from saving my sister. I followed the trail for as far as it went. After about an hour, the blood stopped at a hole. I debated whether I should go back and tell my parents, but I didn't think they'd believe me, even if I did say that my sister was missing. There's no denying my parents thought I was insane. Despite my fear, I jumped into the hole.
Why?
I fell for what felt like forever. Then, I finally hit water. My face morphed into disgust.
Why would you?
As I stumbled through what I thought was a sewer, since there was no light. I looked up out of the hole and saw a tiny white dot. I started to walk around. There was crunching under my feet. I paid no attention to it since I thought it was some dead leaves or sticks that had fallen into the sewer.
They're bones. Animal bones. I wouldn't doubt it if it was animal bones.
That was until I fell. Some unknown liquid had splashed all over me. I remembered that my phone was in my back pocket, and I pulled it out and shined it on myself. Time seemed to slow down. as I realized what I was walking in. It was a river of fresh blood. The blood had absolutely soaked me.
What?
I held in a scream as to not alert any nearby creatures. I then ran through the connection of tunnels and refused to stop until I started hearing footsteps behind me. I stopped, turned around, and shined my flashlight around. The light from my phone landed on a distant figure. It looked so small, so maybe it was a dog or an alligator that had sneaked in.
Okay, if it was an alligator, you'd probably be in a worse situation.
I stupidly started to move towards it.
Why?
And as I got closer, the figure started to get clearer.
Darwinism at its finest.
I started to see that it wasn't a dog or an alligator. As soon as I realized this, I stopped in my tracks and stared. It looked like me. Its body was contorted. Their back faced towards the ground, and its head was turned right side up and faced towards me. Its legs were normal, but its arms were legs as well. It had jagged teeth, and it was chewing on what was left of my sister's head. Then, I saw my parents' head beside it. I stepped back in shock and fear. The mutant of myself charged towards me. In a state of panic, I tried to run away, but I slipped. I hit my head on the rock and passed out.
Wait. He didn't die, did he? If he did, then how did they get the story? Oh, what? Wait, he did the murders, or did he get murdered? No, he didn't get murdered. Who else would be telling the story then? So I'm guessing he did the murder. Passed out. I wonder what happened. Maybe he was in some form of delirium. I don't know. That one's a little bit, like, weird.
My parents were traveling for the weekend, as it was their anniversary.
Freaking look at the long neck of this dude.
And to no surprise, they wanted to be alone. This meant that I had to take care and be in charge of my little brother, Oliver. Our home and neighborhood were surrounded by woods, and Ollie liked ambling around the trail that was behind our house, but he couldn't go back there without permission. So naturally, since I was 18 and he was 10, I'd have to go with him for precautionary purposes. It was a little while before lunch, so I decided to join Ollie in his trek, so that way my appetite would be in a more salubrious state. It was spring, and the leaves were meager and just starting to grow back onto the trees, which also meant I had to watch out for any sort of dangerous animals that could possibly lurk out and cause harm to any of us. I could hear Ollie sniffing the air, and then him groaning at something.
Something smells like shit,
he said nasally, as he pinched his nostrils shut. Hey, watch your mouth, I retorted, surprised by the sudden curse. Just because Mom and Dad aren't here doesn't mean you're allowed to say whatever. I did, however, sniff the air. He was right. There was a smell of rotten meat that permeated my nose. It was like roadkill. I saw what looked like legs by a tree about several yards from us. Stay right there, okay? I instructed Ollie. He nodded in agreement while keeping his hand on his nose. I leisurely walked forward and turned the tree to see what the thing was. It was a deer, and it was dead all right. Flies droned and swarmed around it. I was used to seeing dead animals around here. Hunting was pretty frequent.
Wait, that's a big old chomp bite on the side of it.
But there was something that rather took me aback. It was the fact that the way its neck had been ravaged into, it was almost entirely gone and torn down to the bone. A bear would go down to the muscle and stop there, but to the bone? This had to have been from something much more vicious. But what? I looked back to see if Ollie had actually done what I urged him to. He did, but he was peering out to the woods. His eyes, so fixated, were filled with concern and his face unnerved. "You okay, bud?" I asked, noticing his expression. "Something's out there," he murmured as he continued to seem alarmed. I looked to see if he was kidding around. All that was in my view were the trees and brush. It might have been a deer or something. "Don't worry so much. Come on, let's go back and get some lunch." And so we did, just to reassure him. I made ourselves some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as we watched a movie for a bit.
Ah, yes. The good old peanut butter and jelly.
Ollie usually liked his sandwiches, and he'd been done with it in a few minutes, but he ate his so sluggishly. I didn't bother asking what he saw, because I figured that he must have scared himself, and that he'd get over it in a while. However, the back of my mind was still unsettled by that deer. How could its neck have been mutilated like that to such a grisly state? Night dawned upon both of us, and Ollie was begging me to let him sleep beside me as I put him to bed. "What's gotten into you?" I asked him. "That thing's still out there. It was staring at me. It was dark and big. Bigger than you. I'm sure you just scared yourself. If anything was out there, it wasn't anything dangerous." He continued to beg me, but I kept refusing, and told him to close his eyes and that he'd forget about it in the morning. I laid down in my bed, ready for a good rest.
I'm trying to figure out what it could be. Or maybe it's not a monster at all.
Keeping my TV on just so I have a source of light in my room. I felt my eyes starting to sag and get heavy as I slowly felt myself growing drowsy. There was a sudden snap from outside. It sounded like a stick being splintered. I figured it was some animal, like another deer, but what would be out at this time of night? My TV was still on, so I decided to watch a little bit more just so I could go back to sleep. Without even thinking, my gaze floated to the window, and my heart punched the inside of my chest. There was something at the window. I couldn't see what it was, save for the eyes. They were milky and opaque, almost lifeless, but they were staring right through me. I tried to make it seem like I didn't see the figure outside, and just roll over onto my stomach and pretend to be asleep to try and avert it. I then heard something against the glass. The thing was scratching my window. The sound was piercing.
It wants to be perceived. Come and perceive me.
Piercing my ears and grated at my nerves. My chest started to feel full as my breath started to shorten. My window was starting to open, and I could hear that thing climbing into my room. Its presence was clearly made, as its shadow covered my entire bed in black. I sat there hyperventilating for what seemed like hours, until I felt the mattress start to sink in. The springs groaned as the thing had climbed onto the bed. I felt I could literally die from fright right there.
Dude, this is a twin bed. Get out.
The thing started to move across my bed. I was trying my best not to breathe so hard, but I was completely terror-stricken. It then stopped and stood right at my shoulders. I felt its giant feet clasping onto my shoulder blades. I could hardly breathe. I had a mirror to my right that allowed me to see what was above me, and chills ran down my spine. The creature was black, large, and at least 7 feet tall and lanky. Its arms went down to its calves. Its chest leaned over me and stretched to an impossible degree.
And it goes to its ears and says, "You lost a game."
It didn't even look human or animal. It seemed alien. I shut my eyes tight, hoping that it was just some dream. I could start to hear the creature's heavy breaths and growling. It sounded like a dog, but much more disturbing. As it grasped harder, I feared the worst. My ears were ringing. I wasn't breathing while I bit my tongue. My eyes were shut so tight, and the blood flow in my head stopped almost completely. Something then beckoned it off of me, and the creature leapt off. Through my ringing ears, I thought I could hear something like thumps and rusty hinges. I painfully felt the blood flow starting to come back, and I blacked out. Morning came and I had a massive headache now, and my chest felt so tight. I needed to go wake up Ollie and make breakfast, and I reluctantly did so. I went into his room but found his bed empty. I checked all of downstairs to check if he was there somewhere. Nothing. I then thought of the one place he could definitely be if he was hiding. I went outside and took to the path in the back of the woods. I walked some ways while trying to get over the pain in my head when I saw his bare feet by the tree. "Ollie," I said, exhausted and annoyed in my grimace. "Come on, what are you—" I stopped. I felt my whole entire world collapse as I was bludgeoned with every single negative emotion possible. I put two and two together, and it answered my questions as it brought my distress up tenfold. Ollie was sitting there. His skin was pale. His cloudy eyes trickled with blood, and his neck was mangled to the bone. He was dead. He wasn't lying. That creature was still out there.
Well, what are you gonna tell your parents now? Gas station horror story. Ooh, I like a good gas station.
One night.
Wait a minute, is it the time one? It better not be the time one.
Last summer, two of my friends, Sam and Jake, convinced me to sneak out with them and drink.
Nope, it's
We were
not.
all bored, just looking for something to do. We decided to go for a walk to a local gas station that was open 24 hours a day. The walk there was pretty uneventful. We talked about random topics and drank a couple of beers. Once we got to the gas station, Jake had to use the bathroom. When he was in the bathroom, there was a dirty, sketchy guy in there. Jake struck up a conversation with this guy. It was pretty normal,
Get on Minecraft and stub the gas station.
Except when the guy asked why he was out so late and if he was by himself. Jake brushed it off as the guy was just trying to tell him to stay safe. We bought some snacks and we noticed the guy following us around while he was talking to someone on his phone. We left soon after, and on the way back, we sat on the side of the road and talked for a while as we drank some more. It was pitch black by now because there are no streetlights in the area. We saw a car coming down the road, which was no big deal. We sneak out pretty often and we've never had any real problems. Cars usually just drive by. This time was different. The car spun around in the road and pulled up right next to us on the street, and two guys got out. We ditched the beers, got up, and sprinted down the street.
Thank you, Kai Master, for the follow, dude. You're now one of my gems. Welcome.
Jake and I hid behind an RV, while Sam hopped a fence. The two men looked dirty, like they hadn't showered in days. We watched the two guys for a little while, which is when we noticed that one of them had a gun in his hand. They looked in our direction for a few minutes before they got back into their car and drove off. Jake and I looked for Sam, but we couldn't find him, so we decided to head back home.
The one who hopped the fence?
We thought we had lost them, but on the way back we turned a corner, and those same guys were sitting in the car, waiting there. We ran through the alleyways and backyards until we lost them. Every few minutes, we saw the car driving slowly down a street or alleyway in the distance.
No! Don't shoot the kids who had beer. Come on. Kids will be kids, you know?
And we would hide. Eventually, we made it back, and Sam messaged to tell us that he got followed by a different car, but he made it home safe. It's been almost a year since that night, We're always more cautious when we go out, and Sam still has nightmares about being abducted. I don't know for sure if the guy from the bathroom had anything to do with it, but we believe that he's somehow connected to it.
Wait, what?
Nightmares about being abducted. We made it back, and Sam messaged to tell us that he got followed by a different car, but he made it home safe. It's been almost a year since that night. We're always more cautious when we go out, and Sam still has nightmares about being abducted. I don't know for sure if the guy from the bathroom had anything to do with it, but we believe that he's somehow connected to it.
Oh, so no shocking events that happened? Okay. Like just one scary thing. Okay. So I thought there was like gonna be like a shocking thing of like, and then I realized my friend was actually with them and we were about to get murdered. Tinder date? Oh, this ain't good.
This happened when I was 17 years
old. Wait, isn't Tinder like not only it's a dating app, but like you download Tinder and you expect to get laid on the first night? Is that what it is? I don't use Tinder. Actually, I don't use any dating app.
Old. It's been nearly 2 years since my girlfriend broke up with me, and I was very chewed up about it on the inside. I've called her several times, but it always went to voicemail. I've tried texting her on Messenger since, ironically, we were friends on Facebook, but still, not a single response. As the weeks went by, I became very devastated.
Oh. Alright, ad time. BRB. I'm back. All right, let's get to watching now. You have no clue? Well, it couldn't hurt to ask.
And was worried that I'd never find love again. My brother told me to just forget about my ex-girlfriend and that it was time for me to move on. He introduced me to this app called Tinder, which he said was great for online dating. I was very familiar with online dating, but never actually done any of it because there was no way that I even felt like hooking up with some random person I met online. But I figured it couldn't hurt to try it out, so I decided to give it a shot. After I finished setting up my account and was done creating my profile, I just started randomly liking a few of the girls that I thought were pretty. I'm not picky, I just wanted to make sure that I found the right girl for me. A few weeks later, I've had already received my first match on Tinder.
Isn't it like right girl for me? Would it be the right girl for... I'm probably thinking too much into it. Never mind.
Her name was Robin. She had blue hair, freckles, and beautiful amethyst purple lips.
Witch! She's a witch!
According to her profile, she had the same interest in the stuff I was into, and was even around the same age as me. Even better, she lived in the same town as me. By the way, I live in Memphis, Tennessee. We started having a friendly group chat on Tinder, which was going well. Her message said, "You may not know me, but we went to the same high school." I replied, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yeah, I was always the quiet one at the back of class. Anyways, I think you're really cute. We should hang out sometime." I agreed and asked her to where she wanted to hang out, where to meet her, and what time I should be there. She said we'd hang out at her place and meet her at the park tomorrow night at around 9 p.m.
Uh-oh. That doesn't sound too great.
I accepted. I got to the park that night at around 9 p.m. sharp. I didn't call her because I didn't want to sound too desperate. Some time passed and I finally decided to call her to no response. I also tried texting her to no avail as well. It was around 9:30 p.m. There was still no sign of her and I was beginning to grow impatient. I was starting to think that maybe she wasn't going to show up at all. I sighed and said, I knew this was too good to be true. She's not even here yet. Screw it. I'm going home. I can't believe I came out here this late for nothing. Oh well, so much for online dating. I was about to start my walk home when suddenly I saw a black convertible pull up to my location. The car stopped right in front of me, and the window rolled down, revealing a creepy-looking old man who was probably in his mid-30s.
Wait, creepy old man in his mid-30s? Excuse me.
Gazed at me with a weird smile and asked, "You going somewhere, kid?" I responded, "Yeah, I'm just headed home." He asked me why I was out there this late, and told him that I was supposed to meet someone, but it seemed like she wasn't going to show up.
Wait a minute. He took her.
He said, "Oh, you must be waiting for my daughter."
Wait, what?
The man, by the name of Jeff, introduced himself to me as Robin's father, and said that Robin has told him a lot about me. He told me that Robin couldn't meet me at the park because she remembered that was the night she had to go to a slumber party with her friends, and she forgot to cancel. He told me she wouldn't be home till 11 o'clock.
Wait a minute, then why are you out here? What?
And that's when I knew my night was a bust. He apologized and offered to give me a ride home. I knew it was going to take too long for me to walk, so I accepted.
Why?
It was going to be a long drive, but luckily I knew all the shortcuts to my house. I told him where I lived and how to get there as I got into the car.
This seems rather very sus.
After a few minutes, I was feeling tired from being out so late, so I closed my eyes for just a few short seconds and dozed off. Not long afterward, I awoke. Feeling a little drowsy, I rubbed my eyes and realized that I was still in the car. I asked the man where we were, as this wasn't the usual route to my house. He said, Relax, kid. This is a shortcut. We're almost there. I asked where we were going, and then he looked at me with some sinister grin on his face and just chuckled. I felt my heart almost explode out of my chest as he did that. I looked down and saw a handgun sticking out of his jacket pocket. I put two and two together and realized what was happening. I told him, "Let me out now!" He responded, "No." Then, he put his foot on the accelerator, speeding up the car. I tried to get out, but he had already put the child lock on. It seemed hopeless. I was trapped. There was no way out. To make matters worse, we were driving through a forest area with no cell service. I couldn't even call for help. But I just had to get out. As soon as the car started to slow down, I stabbed him in his shoulder with a pocket knife that I found on the floor. He screamed in pain as I was able to turn off the child lock, unlock the door, and run as fast as I could into the woods. While I was running, I could hear multiple gunshots being fired at me, but luckily not a single one hit me. I never looked back because I had the fear of the man chasing me at the back of my mind. I dove behind a tree and hid under a bush. I heard the man yelling, "You can't hide from me! I will find you!" I covered my mouth with my hands and held my breath, trying not to make a sound. Everything was silent for a while, until I saw the man was looking for me with a flashlight. He flashed it past me multiple times. When I heard his footsteps going deeper into the woods, that's when I knew the coast was clear. I ran, using the flashlight on my phone to help navigate me through the dark and scary woods. In hindsight, I knew that was a stupid move considering the situation. I could hear the leaves crunching and the twigs snapping as I ran, which would also easily give away my position.
Yeah, you should have just kind of walked. And, like, because he has the light on, so he couldn't really tell where you were at.
When the crunching and snapping got louder, I looked behind me and my heart dropped when I saw that the man was chasing me. I ran as fast as I could with the man hot on my tail, firing every single last live round he had in his gun. But thankfully, the shots missed again. "There's nowhere for you to hide," he said. I thought I was going to die, until I heard the man trip over something, and I was able to get away unharmed.
Idiot.
I kept running until I was out of the woods and back onto the road. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere to be seen, which means I lost him. I sighed in relief, and then I saw a red car driving down the road. I was able to wave it down and told the driver that I was kidnapped and almost killed by some crazy man in the woods. It took a lot of begging, but the driver finally gave me a ride to the police station, and I told the cops everything. Unfortunately, I didn't get the man's tag number, but I gave the police a clear description. After the police had run a search, they told me that he didn't even have a daughter, and that they've been trying to catch this guy for months.
I figured.
As it turns out, he's wanted in several countries for the kidnappings of multiple teenagers and young men. How I managed to escape him is a miracle. The officers kindly gave me a ride home, and I didn't tell anyone what happened except my brother. The man was never found, nor was he ever caught, and they say he's still out there, even to this day, which scares me the most. What's even worse is that I stupidly gave him my address, so who knows if he might try to kidnap me again. Needless to say, my days of using Tinder weren't over after that. The whole incident just made me a lot more cautious from there on out.
So even the Tinder date was fake. Okay. Llama Arts. I like this guy. What else does he do? Well, it's been a year, but seems like it goes on by like a year, 2 years, somewhere around there. Okay. Well, I think that's about it for tonight. let's go find somebody to raid. Although tomorrow, we will be doing Kingdom Hearts 3 with Orange and Icy. So get ready for that one. Finally, the moment has come. One of the least liked, in my opinion. Why am I searching in YouTube? I need to search onto the actual thing. Who to raid? Who to raid? Did we raid this person before? Actually, let me check in my mod view. See if I actually raid in them or not. Raids. Oh, that many days ago. Okay. Okay, well, let's go and raid into... Actually, we haven't raided them in a while. Alright, let's see. That's not how you spell raid. Alright, thank you all for watching. Just remember to get ready for tomorrow when we do Kingdom Hearts 3. But yeah. Oh yeah, raid message. I forgot. Spooky month. That's right, spooky month. There we go. Anyways, copy that. We shall get started. Thank you for watching, Gems. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye.